Hey, what's up, everybody? Joey G again for you for this Friday night installment. Joey G. What's up, everybody? Today, a little talking about back in the day, Shawn or Bret. And as all you know, my favorite wrestler of all time is the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels. And he's not just my favorite; he's millions of favorites. I mean, he's a favorite of millions, and way more than the millions and millions of the Rocks, the Cocks, I said. And he's Shawn Michaels. He's the man. He's the best in-ring performer ever. And yeah, you can say I'm out here swinging from his dick. Whatever, dude. I mean, he's the best in-ring performer. Bret Hart was such a jealous crybaby. It was sad. And this started when the Rockers fought the Hart Foundation. This started when Marty Jannetty and Jim the Anvil Neidhart were in the picture in 1989 when the Rockers made their first WrestleMania appearance and they fought the Twin Towers. Y'all remember that? WrestleMania 5. The old school fans remember that. April 1st, 1989. Hogan vs. Macho Man was the main event. The Mega Powers explode. The Rockers, WrestleMania debut. I remember Shawn in the AWA, and they were making the Midnight Rockers heel because they came to the WWE, and Jimmy Jack Funk started a whole bunch of shit and got Marty and Shawn fired. They were big partiers back then, Marty and Shawn. I mean, look at Shawn 10 years ago. I mean, well, maybe not 10, 15 years ago. Imagine what he was like 30 years ago. You know what I mean? I mean, look at him 15 years ago when people were throwing batteries at him right before WrestleMania 14. He was cursing out the whole crowd. He mooned them. The cops had to escort him out. He didn't want to give up the belt at WrestleMania 14. He said behind the scenes to Steve Austin, "Steve, I like you. I love you, man. But I don't want to give up this belt." And really, Shawn, you didn't really win it. I mean, Bret deserved to be screwed. But, you know, Shawn won it on a screw job. I mean, with Vince screwing Bret. But Bret screwed Bret. I mean, Vince didn't screw Bret. The deal is, and I want to get into the topic, and this has a lot to do, and this ain't a long topic and a long story I want to spend the thing on because my show's tomorrow, my big show from my studio. But Bret, the year before, 1996, you remember the Iron Man match at WrestleMania 12. A great match, but that was one of the boringest Iron Man matches ever. When people say that's my favorite WrestleMania match of all time, the Iron Man match with Bret and Shawn, I say, it was 0-0 the whole friggin' match. It was 0-0. It wasn't like Brock Lesnar and Kurt Angle on SmackDown in 2003. It wasn't like Kurt Angle and HBK on one of the pay-per-views or one of the Raws. They fought a 30-minute Iron Man match. And there were the Rock Triple H Iron Man match, I think, was the best Iron Man match. Judgment Day 2000. I mean, when The Undertaker returned as the American Badass, he came down on the motorcycle. That was the best Iron Man match ever. I mean, I think the final was 5-4. HBK was the ref, and Triple H won. He won back the title. The Rock won the title at Backlash. By the way, that was one of the worst WrestleManias ever, WrestleMania 16. I went to 15. 16 was horrible, and 17 was the best WrestleMania ever. How do you figure that one out? I don't know. 18 could have been the best WrestleMania ever with Hogan and The Rock if they would have headlined it. They didn't headline it, though. You had Triple H and Jericho and Stephanie in Jericho's corner. You know what I'm saying? So, WrestleMania 18 had the potential to be up there in the top 10. They're not even in my top 10 now. But the Rock-Hogan match was awesome. I like the Rock-Hogan the year later when the Rock was Hollywood heel. The Hollywood Rock was the best. I know I'm off topic here because I'm just jabbering. You know what I mean? This isn't a real big show. I'm just letting you people know. Shawn or Bret? Bret was just so jealous of Shawn. I mean, I'm going back to 95. They had the Slammies. And I remember Shawn wasn't even the champion yet. Diesel was. Kevin Nash was. Well, first, Bret couldn't stand any of them. He kissed Kevin's ass because he knew Kev would kick the shit out of him. He kissed Scott's ass because he knew Scott would kick the shit out of him. X-Pac and Owen were real good friends. So, you know what I mean? And Bret Hart said, I never had a problem with Shawn Waltman. Me and Shawn Waltman were always friends. And Shawn Waltman said the same thing. Me and Bret, always been friends. I never had a problem with Bret. Shawn Waltman thinks the Montreal Screwjob was a work. Because if you remember, they were filming a movie on Bret Hart, Wrestling in the Shadows. If you remember earlier that year, in July, the Calgary Stampede 97, where it was the Hart Foundation versus Stone Cold, the Legion of Doom, Goldust, and Ken Shamrock. What a WWE crew. What a team. I mean, besides Austin, and the Legion of Doom at the end of their careers. And Ken Shamrock and Goldust. I mean, Goldust is doing the best now that I've ever seen him do. Seriously. Looking at the clock, the SmackDown's on in about 10 minutes. SmackDown ain't that big to me anymore, and I was thinking about that earlier. Like, I wouldn't even go to a SmackDown. Like, now, next week, is it this? Wait a minute. October? Wait, okay. Let me think. Let me see. Today's the 26th. Tomorrow's the 27th. October. Yeah, next Thursday, SmackDown starts. So Thursday night, I'll definitely be doing a show. Because SmackDown goes back to Thursday nights next Thursday. And I'm hoping SmackDown gets better than Raw. Because like I told you, if you don't know, and I'll be saying on my show tomorrow, the WWE is bringing back Stone Cold Steve Austin in a full-time capacity. He's not going to be in the ring, wrestling in the ring all the time. He will be wrestling now. And he'll be wrestling. I mean, he'll be on matches. He'll be on pay-per-views. He'll wrestle on Raw and SmackDown here and there. Yeah. I don't know how he's going to do it. I thought he was hurt for life. But, I mean, there's millions of websites just going there. Stone Cold Steve Austin returning. They didn't say the date. Because, I mean, Stone Cold isn't anywhere. He could pop up at a house show tonight wherever the WWE's at. You know, he could have popped up on SmackDown. I didn't even read the SmackDown spoiler. You know what I mean? So, Steve Austin could have popped up anywhere. But during that Bret and Shawn feud, as you can remember, Shawn was teaming with Steve Austin a lot. Remember, they were the tag team champions, Stone Cold and Shawn Michaels. Then they fought each other at King of the Ring 97. And then they main event at WrestleMania 14. But Bret just didn't fit that mold. He didn't fit the Attitude Era. Bret was more family-oriented. That's why when the Montreal Screwjob Anthony went down, he went, W. He went, hold on, let me push the camera back, everybody. He went, W-C. No, he went, W-C-W. Like, dork. Bret, you're a dork. Who would ever write WCW? I mean, I see dork sometimes in the crowd at WWE events, like when I'm watching Raw or SmackDown, or main event, or whatever, on YouTube, if I'm watching an old match, and I see somebody with like one of them purple WCW shirts with WCW yellow in the middle. I wouldn't have wore that shit back in 94 or 93. Okay, that shit was gay, for real. WCW was just gay. At least WWF was cool. It had a cool logo. WCW was just gay, and the only reason they beat WWE all them weeks is because Ted Turner's money. You think Macho Man and Hulk Hogan would have went there over Vince McMahon's company if Eric Bischoff and Ted Turner weren't paying them that much money? No, you think Kevin Scott would have left? Well, Scott had demons. You know, he had a lot of demons. That's my favorite wrestler, I mean, besides HBK, and so is Kevin. But I tend to like Scott a little more. Shawn and Scott, I don't know who I like better. But it's a toss-up. But Scott had a lot of demons, so Scott had it already in his head that he was going to WCW. So when Scott left, indeed, they both left. Their contracts were like a week apart. Scott left, and then he said, I got a big surprise for you. And then Nash walked out. And then Bret was there without a contract, and Bret said, I'll never leave the WWF. And he just needed time off. He took a break. He went back to Canada. Shawn was the champion, and Shawn told Kevin Scott, don't get mad when we're kicking your ass in the ratings. Well, it was the complete opposite. The NWO was formed, and Raw was just getting stomped. They were getting their ass stomped. I mean, ba-dow, bang. And you couldn't blame it on Shawn. I mean, people were saying, oh, it's because Shawn's a bad champion, he's too small. Shawn had some great matches, and I saw one, Mind Games, 96. That's when it was the Core State Center. It wasn't even the first Union Center yet. This is the same building where they're having the Royal Rumble. It just changed names like 4 or 5 times. This is when it was the Core State Center. Shawn Michaels and Mick Foley, who was known as Mankind at that time. I mean, this is the match that turned Shawn Michaels into a brawler. If you ever can find that match, Shawn Michaels, it's on YouTube, versus Mankind. Mind Games, 1996, from Philadelphia. A pay-per-view. It was an in-your-house pay-per-view, because it had the in-your-house setup. I was there, and you know, Mankind came out, Shawn, and they had a great match. Mankind was stabbing himself in the leg. Great fucking match. Great. And then Bret came back, and then you remember Shawn lost the title to Sid at that Survivor Series that year when Sid hit Jose Lothario with the camera, and then, you know, the crowd, Madison Square Garden, Sid got a pop and a half. I remember watching that pay-per-view. Me and my little brother Mikey rented it. I mean, Sid got the the Garden popped. When he won that belt, that place went friggin' nuts. I mean, I don't know. I mean, that's what's great about wrestling. I mean, the Royal Rumble's in Philly this year, and I'm telling you, everybody loves The Rock. But if The Rock does return and wins, you think Batista got booed in Pittsburgh last year? That Wells Fargo Center, the same place that was the Core State Center, the same place that was the Wells Fargo Center, the First Union Center, blah, 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 blah. That place will boo the shit out of The Rock. Of course, there'll be some Rock fans, but really, I'll be cheering The Rock because I like The Rock. Even though I call him the cock. You know, Triple H could have did that during the Attitude. He was calling him the croc. If you remember the DX impersonated the Nation, he could have called him the cock. It was the Attitude Era, Hunter. You could have did that. You know what I mean? Good ideas. I know you can't say cock, though, on USA. Hold up. I want to see if SmackDown's on, so we can catch some fun of it real quick. But Bret and Shawn, it was just, let me get this little dirt sheet. They just didn't like each other. Bret was always jealous. I mean, when Bret was world champion, it was weird because Bret had that great match with the British Bulldog at Wembley. And then 4 months later, he lost it to Shawn Michaels in 6 minutes on Saturday night's main event when the turnbuckle got loose. Bulldog's back fell into it. HBK fell on top of him. 1, 2, 3. Shawn walks right in, and I was going nuts because I've been a Shawn Michaels fan since he was in the AWA when they were the Midnight Rockers. And I thought Marty Jannetty would have been a star too. I'll be honest with you, I thought the Rockers were going to just be a great tag team. I really did. I was into the Rockers. I thought they were just going to be one of the greatest. I thought they were going to be the greatest tag team ever. I didn't really, when they first came on the scene in WWE, I thought Shawn was just going to be a tag team wrestler. I didn't think he was going to be, until later you could tell he had the cockiness, he had the good looks. He just could kill on the mic. Marty couldn't kill on the mic. Marty's an alcoholic. No offense on nobody that drinks. I smoke weed. Hey, you know what I mean? But now Marty's an alcoholic. Marty's a little, you see him in the indie scenes, his eyes are in the back of his head. You see him on interviews on YouTube. He doesn't look like he's doing good. But the bottom line is, Shawn is better than Bret Hart. Anybody disagrees, leave me a comment, leave me anything. Joey G. Subscribe to Joey G. Subscribe. That's what you got to do. You got to subscribe to Joey G. And let me know why you think the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be. Like Shawn Michaels did the one time. Bret couldn't tie, and these are mine. He couldn't tie Shawn's shoes. Shawn is just, that match Shawn had with Diesel at WrestleMania 11. Bret fought Bob Backlund. Bret, had an alright match. Shawn just outperformed Bret every time. And of course, when Shawn won the title at WrestleMania 12, you see Bret went to get the spotlight. Bret was standing there like, let me put this thing back, standing there like, damn. And Shawn was sitting there, if you remember, with the belt like this. And Bret always says, well, I took kind of him. Shawn said to Earl Hebner, get him the fuck out of the ring. He's stealing my spotlight. Now, when I first heard that, I thought, damn, man, HBK, come on. Bret just dropped the belt to you. Give him a little respect. He is a dickhead. Bret does think he's a little too big for his britches. And, you're coming out of the Hart Foundation. You think you're as big as Hulk Hogan? And that's what he thought. He thought Hulk Hogan should automatically drop the belt to him. No, Bret, it don't work that way. Anyway, Shawn Michaels is the greatest in-ring performer ever. Not just because he's Joey G's favorite wrestler, because he is the best in-ring professional wrestler ever. HBK, Shawn Michaels, the Heartbreak Kid. His real name, Michael Hickabottom from San Antonio, Texas. The best ever. Bret, the shitman Hart, you suck. You'll always suck. The best there. I can't even, let me think of something good and I'll say it on the show tomorrow. But I'll think of something good. This is a short show for tonight. Leave me back some comments. Subscribe. Give me some views. But I don't care if I get goose egg or 1 million views. I'm going to the head of creative of WWE. You know what I'm saying? And that's it. I don't feel too good. I'm going to watch SmackDown. Hold on. This only goes a couple minutes, so let's go. Let's see what's going to happen. Let's see. Hold on. Who's this? All right. Okay, it's on next. Let's see, ladies and gentlemen. I don't want to keep it that long. What the hell is that weird? That's the Omen. Oh, there it is. Here we go. Oh, there he is. Oh, Andre. The Game. The Rock. The Undertaker. Oh, there's Randy Orton. There we go. Let's see how SmackDown starts up. I got to stop this in a TV PG. That has to go. That's the problem right there. There's the man. Dean Ambrose. That was Clay, ladies and gentlemen. That was Clay. There he is. Dean Ambrose, the man. But who had to ruin it? The Fruity Pebble.
You and I, we have a very similar agenda.
Seth Rollins is a dead man. This is Joey G, and I'm out. Peace.